my Teen Titans video has been contentious, to say the least. For those of you who haven't seen it, all you really need to know is my main problem with the show was tone. All the great bits of the show that are deservedly loved by fans, for me, are ruined by the intrusive humour that never fails to pull me out of the drama, and the overuse and often incorrect use of anime quirks. But still, despite standing by my assessment of the show, I completely understand why these decisions were made. The creator had a vision for the show based on his experience writing for comic book shows, his interest in the anime style, and his own judgment of the age demographic. Justice League vs. Teen Titans has tone problems I have no explanation for. So we open on the Justice League having the most generic fight ever with the Legion of Doom. Who are the Legion of Doom? I don't know. Why are they attacking? I don't know.
Robin, report. How's crowd control?
Well, we've upgraded from 5 civilians to 6 since Justice League War, so...
Well in hand, Father. As predicted, they respond like contemptible sheep.
It's a bit tricky. So, of course, the Justice League win the day until disposable villain number 3 decides to try and outrun the Flash with his hands tied behind his back. Gotta give him points for effort there, and gets caught by a demon.
Between the missile and fuel cell detonations, I'd estimate at least a 3 kiloton hit.
Okay, so Damian can take down a guy Superman is having trouble with. Nope. I promised in Batman vs. Robin I wasn't going to complain about this anymore. Well, at the very least, there are consequences this time.
What we have is an empty shell with no answers. If you had followed orders and done what you're told, we'd know more.
Except they even managed to screw up the consequences because it looks like it was Wonder Woman's lasso that made the demon Scarper, not Damian.
Have you ever considered boarding school?
As a matter of fact, yes. So, Damian is off to Professor Starfire's Hogwarts School for Gifted Kids with Quirks, because that is the way they decided to paint the Teen Titans in this world. Not a group of teenagers that got together to fight the good fight, more like a boarding school / foster home for powerful kids. Seriously, they even have their own danger room and everything. Hello, this is the X-Men's lawyer. I believe we patented that. It's one way to go about it, I suppose. It's one of those, I don't hate it, but I'm not crazy about it either. And we get another good Dick and Damian interaction. The only one we'll be getting until Judas Contract. Dick almost entirely disappears from this movie. Because I guess they thought they had done enough with his character in Bad Blood.
That's why we're all here. To help each other control our gifts. Help one another become our best selves.
And here comes the most blank character in these movies yet. This version of Starfire falls into the sweet, strong, morally perfect female character whose only job is to be a flawless, nurturing presence. Now for me, this is one step above fridging a character. You don't know how to write this female character to be interesting, so all she is a moral centre for all the other characters. And nothing else. Now, I'm not doing any finger pointing here. Raven is written pretty well. But then again, Daughter of the Devil does give you a lot to work with, doesn't it? And it's not like Starfire was the most interesting character in New Teen Titans, but she still felt like a complete person. This Starfire is blank female perfection. Seriously, you could slot any female character into this place and nothing would change. And why are Cody and Dick pretending not to know each other?
Nightwing.
Starfire?
It's been a while.
I know. You're looking good?
I get that they're not going up and sticking their tongues down each other's throats. I mean, they want to be professional in front of the kids and everything, but who are they fooling here? Why are they acting this stiltedly, as if their relationship is something that has to be kept a secret? Nightwing, how are you? Starfire, I'm fine, how are you? It is good to see you again after such a long time of us never speaking. Yes, it is.
Nightwing said you were a princess. Exiled, no doubt.
Technically, it was a coup.
And this is all we'll be getting of Starfire's backstory, because the story of her being given her sister's birthright due to a crippling illness, unfair hatred from their people and neglect from their parents, causing the older sister to become so consumed by hatred that she tortured Starfire, sold her into slavery, took over their planet and tried to kill their parents, and Starfire can't even depose her sister because despite being such a horrendous person, she is actually a great leader. So Starfire is stuck, trying to carve out an identity on a planet that feels more like home than home does, but no. No, we can't have that, not on the Damien show. And we also can't have that in a universe where being a nice person is apparently all you need to be a successful leader. So a fight breaks out between Blue Beetle and Damien, which doesn't end well for Damien, and Raven gets a sneak peek into the first two Batman movies, saving her the task of having to watch them. Meanwhile, Wonder Woman and Superman are planning to go out on a date until a demon possesses Superman. Back at Titan's Tower, Damien goes to Raven to thank her for healing him, and as for Damien and Raven's tween romance, once again, I'm not crazy about it, but I don't hate it either. And there are some cute things in this movie, like Beast Boy turning into a small animal to play Jenga, and Damien's stilted semi-apology, which is very in character for him. But this kid's voice acting has seriously downgraded since the last movie.
Perhaps it was a mistake to challenge you this morning without knowing the full capacity of your alien attachment.
And we are back to voice acting comparable to a 12-year-old playing Julius Caesar in a school play. It's just not working. Damien is trying to find information about Raven, of which there is none. And I love how, once again, despite the New 52 movies apparently being geared towards a more adult audience, they are still putting on morality plays for 12-year-olds. In the sense that Damien is snooping into people's private business, despite the fact that he is around seriously powerful and dangerous people and should have information on them for his own safety. They're trying to make it look like he's the unreasonable one here.
How much do you have to know when people are in need?
Yeah, by all means, take these children in, give them a home, give them love, give them purpose, train them, help them. That's all well and good, that's great. But you still should be doing your research on them. You have a girl who has incredibly powerful telekinesis and seems to have some kind of dark matter magic surrounding her. A boy who can turn into any animal, including all the dangerous ones, and some kind of alien technology fused to a boy's spine. Why do you have no information on these kids? And again, they're trying to make Damien seem like the unreasonable one here, because snooping into people's private business and painful memories is just not on. Did the Throne of Atlantis writers write this? Because I seriously feel like I am watching something made to appeal to the worldview of a 12-year-old. And you may say, oh, well, maybe they've tried to get some information but just haven't succeeded yet. Look at this tower. Look at these rooms. Look at this technology. Who's funding this? I don't know, probably Batman, which would throw Dick's emancipation into foggy territory, which is bad because that was a major character beat in the last movie, even if you only spent 2 lines touching upon it. Either way, you clearly have the technology at your disposal, and yet you didn't bother to use it to find out where these children got such dangerous powers, for their sake if not your own. Yeah, Damien is the unreasonable one here. So let's check in with Superman, see how he's getting on his date with Diana. I should have just asked out Lois! And despite being controlled by demons, somehow he finds the time for a costume change. You know, this guy's fashion sense is pretty lame. I'm sure Trigon, Lord of Eternal Darkness, won't mind if I fly back to his apartment. I'll pick up something that shows off my muscles better.
Clark, what's wrong with you?
Probably the same thing that's wrong with you.
Mine!
So, Starfire, in an effort to make Damien feel more like part of the team, implements some
mandatory fun.
Okay, so up until this moment, the movie has been pretty tonally consistent, but
Help me believe in something, 'cause I am.
cheesiness. Down to the pop song that is in and of itself so cheesy it was probably grown in a test tube. If this was just them having fun, it would be fine. But the music and the montage are so out of place with the rest of the movie. Do you have some water? So Raven goes to talk to her dad and the conversation basically goes like this.
No thanks.
Oh, come on, sweetie. So he can be fully returned to existence. You don't mind, did you?
Still a no.
She fights back against him, and I don't really know how to judge this actress's voice acting, because it does sound stilted and emotionless like Raven should be, but it's lines like this where I'm leaning more towards bad.
Mother of Azeroth, give me strength!
I mean, she sounds like a mum whose 12-year-old kid is pissing her off. Give me strength! The rest of the Teen Titans hear the commotion and...
Titans, go!
They're not. They're not. Like I said, I have my own problems with the original Teen Titans series. It is tonally all over the place, and its use of anime is questionable sometimes and well overused, but I said in the beginning of this video, I get why those creative decisions were made. I get the writer's vision for the show. Where did this come from? So after their anime power-up, they fight the demons, who are wearing BDSM gear? So after they defeat the demons, Raven explains that her mother was in a devil-worshipping cult, and she was the lucky woman who was chosen to bear Trigon an heir. But then it all of a sudden occurred to her, oh shit, I'm having the devil's baby, and she ran away to a peaceful place named Azeroth. But when Raven tried to contact her father asking for child support, he didn't take it well and Azeroth was destroyed. Raven wants to leave, but apparently the mandatory fun worked on Damien because...
If we can't save one of our own, who can we save?
But before they can start giving out hugs and kisses, the Justice League turns up and, as they are prone to do, try to impose their will on the Teen Titans. Which turns out to be a really, really bad idea because now the demons have a hold of the most powerful people in the world, except for Batman, who was prepared because of course he was prepared, he's Batman. So with Batman incapacitated and Cyborg the only member of the Justice League they have, it looks like they've lost Raven.
Like you got a way to take out Superman. Oh my god, I think he does.
I promised I wasn't going to complain about this anymore. Promised I wasn't going to complain about this anymore. Taking down Superman turns out to be relatively easy because of course it is when you have Damien on your side. And small note, there is no way Damien could have known that that would neutralise the demon. We know because Batman told us, the audience, in an exposition scene, but there is no way Damien could have known that. I'm complaining again, aren't I? And now that they have Superman back, he helps the other members of the Justice League snap out of it.
Just like in the movies.
So now that both teams are together, maybe they have a semblance of a chance at beating one of the most powerful entities that has ever existed. And, you know, take your time, guys, because it doesn't seem like Trigon's in that much of a hurry. So while the Justice League handles Trigon up top, Raven and the Teen Titans travel to find a gem that can contain him. They naturally encounter some resistance. One such resistance coming in the form of Ra's al Ghul, Damien's grandfather. Now this could be a really interesting exchange because Damien has been struggling with his identity for so long. Between his mother's side and his father's side, should he be an assassin or a crime fighter? Hero or villain? Does he agree with his grandfather's way of looking at the world? Because, believe it or not, Ra's al Ghul does have good intentions, upon which the road to hell is paved, of course, but good intentions for the world nonetheless. Does Damien agree with those points of view? Does he agree with his father? What's he gonna do?
Have you forgotten your heritage? You are an Al Ghul.
No. I'm a Titan.
Unearned emotional payoff, unearned emotional payoff, earned emotional payoff. You went to a fun fair with these people, and all of a sudden you are willing to go against your grandfather for them. This should have been something that involved Bruce finally shucking off his assassin heritage to make peace with his father. My God, New 52 movies, can you give us any emotional resolutions that you have actually worked for? So, of course, the day is saved, Trigon is locked away, the Titans share pizza with Cyborg, and that's the end. You want to know what the worst thing about this movie is? It's not the tone problem, it's not the fact that the characters aren't well developed, it's not even that blasted unearned emotional payoff that the New 52 movies just keep throwing in there. No. The worst thing about this movie is that I felt pretty much nothing watching it. There were a couple of New 52 movies I genuinely liked. There were ones I didn't like, but I thought had enough good elements to be worth the watch. And there were ones that I just downright hated. But I could at least get through watching them because I had a lot to say about them. This movie, there are no characters that are interesting or endearing, but there are no characters that are offensively bad like in other movies, so I can't talk about that. The plot is again standard New 52 plot, so I don't have much to say about that. There's the unearned emotional payoff, which I have harped on about in these videos so much I don't want to go through it again. You guys know the drill by now. So, despite there being so much wrong with this movie, I found it so hard to review because I found it so hard to get passionate about. Everything you've seen me get animated about in this video, I had to dig deep to find. Except the title. Now, I defended the Batman vs. Robin title because maybe it's clickbaity, but it was an appropriate title because that entire movie was about the emotional conflict between Bruce and Damian, so it did earn its title. Justice League vs. Teen Titans did not. They exchanged, 2 blows? Damian stabbed Superman with kryptonite, and that is the versus part of this movie done with. But yeah, I am sitting here trying to think of something interesting to say about this film, and I got nothing. So you want my advice? If there was ever a New 52 movie I would advise you to skip, it's this one. But I can sense that my downward spiral of disappointment with these movies is about to come to an end because the next movie has one of my favourite characters in literally anything. And I would argue one of the most interesting characters that you will possibly come across in comics.
Bollocks.
Can you guess who it is?